Thank you for coming. Thank you for having me. This is such a privilege and pleasure to be here. Tonight I'll be reading a collection of prose poems. I'm working on a manuscript. Right now the working title is Homesick, and these are all prose poems from that collection. Conversation with an agricultural scientist who also happens to be my good friend. We were sitting in my living room talking about pesticides, specifically the ones that were used on a golf course where I was poisoned in 1991. His back pressed against the couch. I was sitting forward, turned towards my left, turned towards him. He said the benzene and the particular fungicide used behind my house would have made things worse. Exacerbated, I think was his term. I had my palms pressed together in a prayer-like position, elbows comfortably bent. It was a kind of holding space for my heart, though I didn't recognize it. I listened. Then he asked me if I ever wanted to have kids. A question has never caught in my throat like that. My eyes went ocean. His palms soon warmed the back of my hands like a double prayer. Can everyone hear? Is this okay? Thoughts while waiting for my mother at the coffee shop. I don't know if death is more forgiving when it just takes the person, crash, boom, gone, leaving the survivors to remember days as they were whole. Or if it is more generous of death to give us time, to walk beside our loved one as parts of him disappear, limb by limb, until only a heartbeat floats down the icy sidewalk, so small, so invisible in its pulse, that people mistake its brush against their sleeves for the wind. If I were a tree, I'd wish I were a human. Why does that seem so wrong? To think trees might want freedom to move somewhere cleaner, more quiet, to pick the place they put down their roots. Why do we assume that trees are peacefully resigned to the place we give them, especially that place in our minds? Is it because they are silent, I ask myself? My mind reels with all of the silenced people in the world. They are not content, even if wordless, in holding their place, a place designated by someone other. What would happen to the trees if we were to become what we believe they are and make peace with the place we're planted? At the kitchen sink, the bug's perspective. This is it, I tell myself, blinded by an unexpected light at the end of the leaf. It's just as they said it would be. One morning, when fog is still thick and seeping in the field, salt air still clinging to my exoskeleton from an onshore breeze, a giant hand, warm as a stone in summer, will appear. I will feel the heat of the end moving in. It will grasp the world I've known as nourishment and twist it, placing it in a film that will protect me. They say when the hand comes, it has many friends. I will not be alone. This too has been true. I heard legs of others moving through their own ripples of green, preparing for the cold dark night grandmother said would be followed by a bright white light and a gushing of fresh, clear water to take me away. They will be singing, she said. She's singing, I hope I come back with mandibles like those. Bishop's weed. Her favorite garden is not a garden at all, but a large patch or small pocket of bishop's weed behind the barn. Sometimes there's madder wafting honey in the air, but by far this plot of uncultivated land is dominated by one plant tall enough to be considered erotically invasive. So thick as to create a nesting place for love, so tall as to create a picket fence of flowering proportion, so tender as to cushion the barest back of man. It becomes her preferred bed straw in the deep Sunday of July when he stands over her with a sheet in hand. Dear doctor, who could blame you for asking if I had eaten shrimp, peanuts, been bitten by a spider, stung by a bee? The usual suspects for labored breathing, twitching, turning blue in the case of an allergy. But I didn't have an allergy. I moved into a house on the 16th hole of a golf course. Hello, PGA. Hello, men's course. Hello, Oak Tree Road, Edmond, Oklahoma, 16 years old and nearly dead because 6 emergency room crews, including yours, and 3 ambulance crews, did not consult the EPA's handbook, Recognition and Management of Pesticide Poisonings. I want to blame the 3rd or 4th doctor for the real damage, for sending me home with a catheter in my arm, prepared to readmit me answerless. He suggested that my reactions might be caused by something in our house. He suggested the next time my tongue began to swell, my arm began to twitch, that my parents put me in a lawn chair in the backyard, the golf course. See if that helps, he said. Brilliant. Put a 16-year-old girl with symptoms of acute organophosphate pesticide poisoning in a chair next to the green that's been treated. But maybe he, like you, like us, didn't know golf courses use 7 times more chemicals per sector of land than agriculture. Maybe he thought my repeated symptoms over a period of days indicated something other than poisoning. If only he'd referenced the guide, the part that says certain organophosphates are exceptionally prone to storage in fat tissue, prolonging the need for antidote for several days as stored pesticide is released back into circulation. Well, now you know. Maybe the next case will end up a statistic. Will make a difference when people ask. When people will make a difference when people speak of safety, of number of people poisoned, of the risks. No one talks about the risk of being misdiagnosed. Let this exchange be the beginning. As a result of the pesticide poisoning that I had when I was 16, I became environmentally sensitive to many things. So I just want to mention that because you don't have the context of the whole book, but the next piece relies a little bit on that information. Questions while getting my teeth cleaned. No, I can't do anesthetic. No, I can't do Advil. No Tylenol. No aspirin. No inhaler. Yes, asthma. No mouthwash, flavored floss, disinfectant in the room. No, I don't wear perfume or use Clorox or burn Yankee candles in my home. No, I'm not married. No, that's not why I got divorced. Yes, it obviously impacts my relationships. No, I don't know what I'd do if I had children. No, I don't want children. No, I don't want a sample. No, you wouldn't die if you couldn't eat cheese, wheat, beer, carrots. Yes, carrots. And red dye number 40. Yes, it could be worse. Things do happen for a reason. Can I go now? Let's have 3 more. Sticky Manifesto. On Friday, I will resign myself to the goodness of sticky, to the things it brings into my life. The charm of a little boy, fingers in the jelly jar, scooping out blueberries his grandmother left whole. These are the moments we live for, I will remind myself, as I take the damp cloth to his cheek, still rosy. On Friday, I will not think of the pine pitch smeared on the floor, or on the soles of my shoes, or my sleeves from carrying wood to the fire. I will open my palms to the iron stove, feeling another sun, grateful for the man who splits wood and grows trees. Homesick. Home. A sense of belonging arising from an innately intertwined relationship of landscape and love. Homesickness. A condition of the heart arising when one of the essential threads of home has been frayed or gone missing. Nearly 5 years after Joel's passing, I still pull into my drive, turn off the car, rest my forehead on the steering wheel in a kind of aching prayer, acknowledging that thread, that missing thread. The last one. Waiting is like holding on to the middle of a string. One end tied to the present, the other end tied to an imagined point on a timeline that we don't even know we will live to see. I could call this hope, but I try to give that up every chance I have. Hope implies doubt. Hope preoccupies the mind with a fixed illusion of the future, denying one the sensitivity to keep days vibrant and real, to be in touch with the nature of things, which is change. Waiting implies that I know what's next. I found there is no road more conducive to pain than waiting for the life I imagine I'll live.